This is better. Okay, so it's a little bit cattywampus, but not too bad. So you all, the had some great questions. So this is going to be really juicy, and we'll have some fun. So the point of this is to help you get ready to speak. If you haven't spoken in front of a group in a long time or ever, you probably have some questions. People are known to believe that there's hardly anything worse than public speaking because none of us wants to be like boring or not received well, or for some people to talk smack about us and, all that kind of stuff. And so we're going to talk just a little bit about the structure of stories that really take your topic to that next level. And you can think of the stories that were your favorite childhood stories that you wanted to listen to again and again and again, and they all have some version of a hero's, or in this case a shero's story, which is a lot of fun and has a challenge to overcome and those kinds of things. And goodness, the history that we study in school is all about the challenges that have been overcome. And history is, as a word, is made up of from two words, his and story. And the story, and we have extraordinary stories of our brothers. And now, the whole point of HerStory conferences is for us to tell our stories too, so that her story informs our culture and our future the way history has for millennia. So there are two basic ways to start. Well, there are three really basic ways. If you are teaching something, maybe in a seminar or workshop or something like that, you want to start with your expertise. What drew you to the kind of work that you are expert and can teach? So that's one place to start. If you are giving a speech, as I often do as a thought leader, then the kind of opening that you want is with a bold statement that will set you, just like grab people by the lapels and pull them forward into your topic, whether they agree with you initially or not. You've said something bold and brief to make them curious. And then the other kind, the third kind, is telling a story, and there's an arc to a well-told story, and you know what that is when you hear it. And when we're thinking about what it is that we're going to talk about, what we want to do is to choose. Are we teaching? Do we want to be in the thought leader category, or do we want to really craft a story to come to draw people in? So we're going to talk about those three kinds a bit this evening. And I see somebody has joined. It doesn't tell me who. So put your comment in, and I can acknowledge you here on our video. So it's really good to have people. And this says tag friends on it. I'm just going to give this a try. I don't know what this all means, so I'm just going to tag. It's got a bunch of names here that I can just press on. I'm learning something about Facebook Lives that I just hadn't noticed before. I do these like every week or so. And this looks like the whole list of everybody who's in our group, and I kind of wish it had said all of them, but okay, we got that there. And let me see. Okay, I'm at least I think I don't know if I was showing up the whole time or not. I don't know if you saw my fingers or what, but we'll find out afterwards, or at least I will. So hi, welcome for joining, and so I've kind of set the stage with what it is that we're going to be doing this evening, and talking about those 3 different ways of starting your speaking engagement. What it is that you want to say. Hi, Amani. It's great to see you here. I'm glad you're with us. And so the first thing that you want to do is really pick your topic. And sometimes, I noticed in the comments this afternoon that that some folks were like, I don't know what comment to or what topic to speak on. So, we've got questions about the best way to organize your talk. That's a really great question. We'll cover that. We've got how to focus on one story instead of varying and veering away, that's a great question, because you got to stick on one point. People, or when they're listening to a story, they want to hear the story and get the point. Hey, Linda, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. And so you want to really stick to that. So I'll give you a super tip on that. And then how fast should one speak? Because slow can put the audience to sleep. It's nice to see you, Amani, and just put your questions in our chat if you've got any, and we'll be getting to them. So we've got a few questions to start with. So there are those 3, and if I'll recap them. If you're speaking for teaching, you want to open with establishing your expertise. So that's 1. If you are teaching from your expertise as a thought leader on a particular topic, you want to open with, so number 2 is to open with a bold statement. A bold statement that people may or may not agree with you on initially, but your talk will give them what they need to agree with you, or to have well and honestly considered the reasons that you made that bold statement. And the third type is to tell a story of the kind that we heard growing up, a story with a particular kind of arc. And there are a handful of different arcs of stories that are really intriguing, and we'll talk about those. But the first thing to talk about before we talk about how to tell the story is how to choose your topic. And so the topic that you should, so grab a piece of paper and a pen and jot these things down, because this is really important. If you haven't quite kind of dialed in on what your topic is, you want to choose something that meets just a 2 or 3 criteria for you. It doesn't matter that if it, don't be worrying about what other people think. This is all about you, because this is your story. I mean, look back to the first written history. It was written by this guy named Thucydides. He was a general. He commanded an army. The stuff that he wrote was about what happened in that war, the Peloponnesian War, where he was leading one of those armies, and they had lots of challenges, and people and battles and terrain and weather and all the kinds of things, the strategy and outmaneuvering the competition, the other side, and all those. Amani is asking what exactly is expected from us, especially from me. Ooh, that's, you mean for when you are speaking? to an audience. So help me dial that expectation question into is this about your talk, or is it about something related to your talk? So help me out there, Amani. But good question. So you want to make sure that that it's something that really matters to you, that you are juiced about. It's a topic that if you could talk about it, half of the day, you would gladly talk about this topic. So, there are a couple of topics that I love to talk about. I love to talk about besting, difficult situations. And it really has been, throughout my career in technology, where I was working mostly with men. And men, are, acculturated and socialized in a different way than are we as women. And working primarily with men, I really had to learn how they play and how to be on par or best them in a way that made them respect me. Because without respect, there wasn't a thing that I was going to be able to accomplish, not a thing. Unless I just wanted to be on the bottom rung of the totem pole. And I don't know about you, but I do not, lounge on the bottom rung for more than about a nanosecond. It's stinky there to me. So I always want to rise up in whatever it is that I'm doing, and committing my life, my breath, my energy, my passion to. I want to do it in a way that rises, and I hope that you have your version of how you want to rise and really be the force of nature that you are here on planet Earth to be. So jot down, on your notepad or your note on your phone, or just whatever it is, or you keep notes. Just jot down, what are the 2 or 3 topics that are juicy to you, that you think about all the time. I grew up as a little kid watching the news. It was the civil rights era with Dr. King and the Freedom Riders and all that stuff that was going on when I was a little girl. I have always loved, political news and, what are the ebb and flows of the kinds of cultural forces that go within our nation. I can talk about that stuff all the time. I don't talk about it when I speak because I'm not a politician, but amongst my friends, it's a great and fun thing to do. And so, for me anyway, but related to that, for me, how women show up in the world and how we have options in showing up so that we're taken seriously, that we're not disrespected. Hey Nessie, how you doing? Welcome aboard. And so how people show up, how we as women show up, has a big impact in the kinds of things that we get to do and opportunities that we get to grab onto in life. And those are the kinds of things that are really juicy to me. So think about and jot down on your pad of paper or in your electronic note keeping, however it is that you do it. What are the 1 or 2 or 3 things that are just really juicy for you, the topics that you feel really passionate about, and just pick one of those. And then to the question that Maxine asked, it's a really great question, Maxine. How do you focus on one story instead of varying away from it? And that is to think about what's the point of the story. Every story should have one and only one point, because that's what stories do. They resolve. It's like music. If you've ever listened to a brilliant orchestra, all great musical, like classical musical pieces, will be written in a key. So the key of C, the key of A, B flat, whatever it is. And the music will start. It typically start in that key, and then it will move around in these kinds of really lyrical and wonderful ways that we use music, and it'll have some point of dissonance in there where things feel a little difficult, and then that difficulty will resolve, and at the end of the piece it'll all come together in that and resolve into that key of C again, or B flat, whatever it was. And so you want to have an arc of the story. If you're telling a story that is more like the kinds of stories that of a normal human who starts out pretty much in one place, and in that place, they're not at the lowest part of the society. They're not at the highest part of society. They're somewhere in the middle, and they've seen an opportunity. They've worked, and this may be you. It may be other people. It may be the kind of people that you help work to figure out something, and they get to that point and they're going along and making a lot of progress, and then something happens and it's just they fail, they fall, something has happened that is just not working for them anymore. And then they're in the challenge. And what do they do to get out of the trough that they're in through this challenge, so that they can flatten out and then start going back up again to get to that point of tremendous happiness at the end. And there may be a little, dip or two at the end, so that, there's a little bit of that dramatic tension at the end of the story, and then they relearn that lesson in a new way, and at the end, life is blissfully happy. So that's this kind of a story arc. You can think of it as a hero's journey. That hero has got, or a shero in our case, has got the kind of talent and go for it kind of way about her. About you, and think about you. What are the challenges that you have overcome, and what did you do to overcome those challenges, and who pushed back, and what did you do to still make that forward progress in spite of the kind of pushback that we all get in life to one degree or another. And see and think about the arc of that, and tell that story in a way that is, to Sylvia's question about how to make your talk interesting. That is always done with emotion, and you express emotion through your voice. And I hope that you can hear a little bit of that in my voice in this video now, because there are some things I'm really more excited about, and some things that I'm just kind of explaining in a way that is really helpful. We'll talk in another video later on about how to end a sentence, so that you end a sentence in a way that is powerful. And there are 3 different ways kind of to do that, and it has to do with how you inflect your voice. So that's a really yummy skill to be able to develop, and I want that for you. So how fast should one speak? Generally, you want to, and the context was not putting the audience to sleep. So the way that you speak is to speak in a measured way, so that you are enunciating clearly. You're using the back of your throat, the middle of your throat, your whole mouth, and your lips and your tongue to slightly over-enunciate what it is that are the words and sounds that come out of your mouth, so that people can understand you very clearly. And what you want to push behind that is not just air, but it's your energy. Is your energy like the energy of intrigue? Is your energy the energy of curiosity? Is your energy the energy of fear because you've been challenged in some way that you don't know how it's going to turn out? Is it the energy of like love? And what kind of love is it? Is it the love for a child, the love for a lover? Is it the love for a parent? Is it the love for a friend? Is it the love of country, the love of community? What is that love? And start telling your story, and watch what happens on other people's faces when you practice the story that one of those that you wrote down on your notepad just at the beginning of this video. What you want to do is when you're telling a story, observe other people as well, so that you can see, are they with me? Are they with me? Hey, Kelsel, how are you doing? You all, Kelsel is amazing. You will love this woman. So it's been, when you're watching and you want to be a real great observer of your audience, how many people are with you? How many people have got a smile on their face? Are they leaning forward just a little bit? Are they kind of looking back and got that kind of, oh, yeah, kind of look on their face? Is their affect kind of flat, or, are they perking up? So you want to, modulate your tone. And when you lean in and you're really interested in your topic and you're really interested in your audience, they will lean in too. The best way to elicit or to get a response that you want is to model the response that you want. There you go. Yes, Amani says, yes, I love her. Yeah, I can see why. And oops, my little dogs are going crazy. So those are that's the thing to really do, to be able to have a really interested audience, is to be really interested in them, because people catch that energy. So it's not so much going slow or fast. You want to vary your pace so that when you're making a real point, that you slow down so people get, oh, this is important here. You slow down just a bit. And when the action in the story is going a little, like high action, you want to pick up your pace just a little bit to emphasize that, and to do the kind of work with your voice that gives that vocal range that really supports what it is that you're saying, because people don't remember all the words. They may remember 10% of the words, but if you are performing your story, they will remember the performance as well. And the more that you speak with your body and your hands, so that if something is moving around, you're moving as though the whole, earth was shaking. They will remember your words so much more effectively and lastingly when it's a performance that you're giving to them, instead of just, talking as though it's an academic thing and we're teaching this and point A and point B and point C and yada, yada, yada. That's hard for people to remember, because it's a digital kind of information, is somewhat digital. You either get it or you don't. And there isn't enough other kinds of information to really make it settle in for you, so that you can use other feelings, a sense of taste. If there was a smell in the air, there was, a different kind of tonality that was apropos for a certain situation in a story. Those are the kinds of things you want to bring to your story, to your talk, to your speaking, so that people will remember what you said even long after. So let me see. So I think we've covered that. So we've covered going fast and slow. How do you focus on one story instead of varying? And that really is all about what's the one and only one point that you want to make. So when I'm speaking as a thought leader, I will often say, the problem today is that we are in a crisis of body control and body autonomy, where there are some people, well-meaning, who are so boundaryless that they don't even realize they have no boundaries, and they will blast through your boundaries any chance they get, because they're out of awareness on the whole boundaries thing, at least in certain areas. And those are the kinds of things I usually say it in about half that many words. So I have to I need to practice some more. But it's, those are the kinds of things that will get people, thinking, we live in a crisis situation with boundaryless people. What makes you say that? And then you've got them in curiosity, and then you've got them in a place where they're kind of leaning forward, like that was bold. No, how's she going to justify that? And then you go on to do it. So if you want to speak as a thought leader, you always start with a bold statement that you've never heard anybody else say, but you're absolutely convinced, and then you bring to bear the stories and the facts and the consequences and the price of this crisis that really gives people that palpable sense that they can feel in their heart and experience in their gut, so that they've got, the kind of, oh my gosh, I hadn't thought about that. And that's the response that you're getting. So you want, to organize your talk so that you get them to realize the one and only one point that you really want them to take away. So I hope this has been really useful, and I don't want to go on too long. I know you've all got a bit to take care of. It's a lovely evening out here, nice and toasty in Texas, and so I wish you all the best. And then put any other questions in that you've got, and I'm happy to help you with the kind of work that you need to do, in your daily emails, and to get ready for doing your 2-minute audition video, and to come together on telling the story on the topic that's the most juicy for you. This is Dorothy Kuhn, the Boundaries Boss, because I always wanted to be the boss of my own boundaries, because other people being the boss of my boundaries wasn't working for me. And I hope you have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you soon. Bye for now.